Hello, the Astroflower family. This is going to be a reading for the collective for the month of November. We're going to be looking at the sort of like emotional side, sort of relationships, sort of things, how things go together. That could be also to do with sort of like governing systems and governments and etc. It could also be with sort of like to do with fashion or sort of just general sort of like emotional engagement between the collective and what we should be doing. It's actually quite a brilliant scenario here. There's something that's being brought to the fore in our collective, within our world. I think we can all feel that. That there is something that is under the surface that everyone's trying to ignore, but it won't be able to ignore it for much longer. On the material side, it's a bit of a leap of faith here. Why dream big when you can dream big? Why dream small when you can dream big? Basically, that's amazing. Why dream small when you can dream big? Our overall collective is the collective energy, or the energy that's flowing through, basically. And it's looking at things in a different way. I think within sort of the relationships, within sort of how we conduct ourselves with one another, I think that by the end of the month, I think that's the most point where we're looking at things differently. On the financial thing, I think it's all the way through. I think it's a case of learning or engaging in the material world. That's the economy, and also sort of sort of like the way we govern ourselves, the way we do things physically in the world. I think we've got an idea here that needs to be really taken on board, and I keep hearing it a lot within sort of on some of the channels that I watch, where you get major people speaking, and they're talking about this common sense, and that's what it seems like on the relationship, on the material side. There's a sort of common sense within the economy now that I think that people are realizing that you just can't keep printing money, and you can't just invent it on a computer, because otherwise it doesn't have any value. It's a little bit like if all the roads were paved with gold. Gold would have no value at all. It'd be as valuable as tarmac, which probably is quite valuable actually these days, But on our relationship side and how we engage in other people, it's the death and rebirth. I think basically people have come to the end of their patience with certain bodies within the world, certain concepts within the world, certain sort of values and stuff like that we're seeing the end of here. We're really seeing the end of here. And the universe is sort of saying, it's up to you. I think the universe is sort of saying, if you really, as a collective, want to stand up and be counted in the universe, you're going to have to do it yourselves. And I think this is what the universe is encouraging us to do. I really do. And I think this is what the common sense thing is all about. From our past, we have chosen a direction. I think within each one of us and within the collective, secretively, we have chosen a pathway forward. And this is common sense pathway. I think this is natural law more than anything else. Following the laws of nature, basically. I think that's what's coming up. In Ireland, you get this common sense, common law, which is common sense law, basically. And it's a really good thing. It's sort of like, if that's common sense, then that's pretty much law. If everyone sort of like gets the idea that kind of like, we shouldn't be curtailing the life of another person with intent, that's not a good idea. I think everybody understands that. That's what we mean by common sense. And I think now, within this month here, I think this is the month where we're really starting to respond to this calling. And it's almost as if we're looking at society and looking at what's going on around us and sort of saying, nope, sorry, not doing that. Heading off on this road here, because this road here, this common sense road here, you know, where I work with laws of nature, are actually, they're pretty sound. You know, there's no real lock in it. And then this comes in, so it basically, I think this movement, and I think it's going to happen, what's the dates I get off of this? I get 18th, 19th, something like that, of November. And maybe in the 18th of November, it's kind of like, it's almost as if like the alternative is put out there. And it's, by the end of the month, it's a case of wait and see. Where the majority of people are kind of going, well, you know, we're going off in this direction. You know, what you do. And it's not like a standoff, like a first will blink sort of thing. It's more of a case of sort of saying, you coming or not? You know, that sort of thing. So there's a hesitancy at the end of the month, I think, around about the sort of 25th, around that sort of period when we move into Sagittarius period. I think this is it where we kind of like, we're in this hesitancy about going forward because we know where we want to go, and it's just basically, you know, just sort of allowing the opportunity for everybody to get on board, you know. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. It's picking up passengers. I'm going to put that link to that song in the description below. That's basically what it is. And it's, you know, you don't have to pay to get on board this train. You just need to do it within your daily life. And you need to treat people in the other way, even if they don't understand. This is the thing. This is a real thing. If people don't understand the sort of like common law, as it were, or sort of natural laws or laws of nature, then don't let them trigger you. You know, it's more of a case of kind of going, okay, well, you didn't get the memo. That's fine. No worries. You know what I mean? I'll catch you in the next one. That sort of thing. It's that sort of thing that needs to be going through. On the financial side, now this is financial, this is a material side and everything like that. There is this leap of faith, and I do believe this is tied into seeing things in a different way. Okay? And this leap of faith for us is the karmic message for the collective here. I think this leap of faith is taking a leap of faith of how we interact with one another on a very physical level. The universe here is sort of saying, you know, just keep your emotions in check when you're doing this. It's got to be very matter of fact in a way. I think this is where, you know, the universe is helping us to keep control over our emotions. We've come from abundance. Look at the world. Look at the things we have. You know, we have, if you look at what we have now and look at what we had, say, like 100 years ago in the 1920s, you know, great years for jazz and stuff like that, and great years for other things. But, you know, we've got abundance. We've got all these possibilities that are around us. Now, do we dare to dream? That's the thing. Do we dare to take that leap of faith, right, towards that dream? And I think we've got to see things in the way we do things differently. Now, for example, when I started out doing healing sort of like 30 years ago now, whatever it is, all my appointments were all through donation. And I used to love that. I really did. You know, I would close my eyes, I would open my hands, and people would put what they wanted into my hands. And then I would take it, what they've got, keep my eyes closed, and put it in my pocket. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I take everything out of my pocket, and let's say I've seen 10, 12 people, because my healing takes a bit of time. I like taking the time over it, because, you know, anyway, it's for another video. Out of my pocket, I take out what I've got out of my pocket, divided by the number of people, and that's my average. You know, and as life went on and etc., and I got 3 kids and a dog and a house and everything like that, and everything to pay for, it was a case of where I had to sort of like look up at the universe and sort of say, yeah, I need a pay rise. and literally within the week, my average just went, whoop. It didn't go like that, because I don't do anything for money. Do it because you love doing it. Yeah, the money will come. The money will come for what you need in order to do what you got to do, basically. And I wouldn't ask for more, and I wouldn't ask for less. I just want to be able to do what I want to do. And through the generosity of people, this is where everybody can find their way in more than anything else. So I think, that's the sort of thing we've got to get back to. Not necessarily giving donation, sort of like a donation for a car could be quite difficult and to deal with. So, it's going to be a transition, but it's got to start somewhere. And I would support those sort of businesses and those sort of projects that are actually going towards that sort of way of being. On the overall outcome, we get the Page of Cups. This is beautiful because we do have a lot of cups down here on this side. And it is engaging with the heart. It's engaging with the spirit, with all these possibilities that we have. And if we do dare to dream, we can open up a beautiful pathway which brings us back to the belief in the human race in a very physical sense. I keep banging on about the common sense and everything like that, and the common law, and naturally you should know within you when you're doing something right or wrong. I know within me when I'm doing something right or wrong, even if it's as simple as sort of not holding the lift door open because for the person, it's as simple as that. And there's no getting away from that. This is it. You can forget about it. You won't remember it a week later, will you? But at the end, that's where you'll remember it. That's the sort of thing you remember at the end of life. It's not whether you made loads of money or, you bought fast cars, or I think that's pretty obvious. But it's not as well as if like you were a success in what you did. It's how you conducted yourself and how you contributed to the collective well-being, basically. It's not very complicated. It's a kid's game. Just got to be a bit of a kid in order to do it. That's all. Okay, so we're going to clarify now with the Lightseers card. We have this weekend, hopefully, we've been trying. I had a real mess up on the live because I want to be doing a live, and it turned out to be a little bit more complicated. I think I've got it sussed for this Sunday, and you'll have your individual reading for the month coming out as well over the next couple of days, and with those individual readings, you will be able to join us on the live on Sunday, and you will be able to ask questions according to what cards that came up, or what situation came up that you would like a little bit more sort of clarity to. So, join me for that live. The information will be posted in this description at some point. I've got to do a community page, and I've got to do working out the timings of it all. But the moment that is worked out, you'll be notified. Let's just get on with the Lightseers and let's just see what's going on. Yeah, 7 of Wands. I think this is, although we see things differently, and we look at things in different ways of doing things, different ways of interacting with life and with other people and stuff like that. Whichever way we do it, it's you've got to remember the reason on which we're doing it. And I think here is that sort of, that confidence that we've got about going down this path comes from within you, and then that comes from the collective. Maybe we should sort of walk every sort of like Saturday afternoon at 2:00. Just go down to the park and just stand, with your arms out like that, as if to sort of say, that's our way of protesting against any sort of like violence in the world, regardless of what it is. And then basically we start to see the numbers of people, who are actually doing that sort of thing. And I think basically the collective will then start understanding. So being sure and having that confidence, this new cycle that's coming up for us is walking away from the disappointing past and realizing what we've done that we haven't done so well, that we haven't connected with each other in a very good way, that's a little bit sort of disappointing. It's a little bit degrading. That's what I'm getting. It's almost like degrading the human consciousness, and it's not good, people. But it has to come to, it seems to that it has to come to a certain level before we understand. You know, it's a little bit like the frog in the boiling water scenario. I think we're coming to that moment now. You know, the universe is sort of saying, as I said, the universe said, like, only you can do it, guys. Only you can do it, you beautiful humans. And it's sort of kind of going, it's not going to show us what, but it will. What it does is, I think it's sort of saying, but whatever you do, just love it. Just be in love with yourself, be in love with the collective, be in love with the people that are around you, be in love with all the animals, the trees, the birds, the fish, the barnacles, whatever it is, just fall in love with it, basically. Now, in this here, we've chosen this path. As I said before, I think we've chosen it within us. And yeah, I think so. We get now 2 queens on this side. This is really lovely for the past here. We know how it works. We know how it goes about. She's chosen this particular direction within us, and it's a direction choice over emotions, and with a little bit of logic thrown in there and everything like that. And this queen here, if you can see, she's got the wryest of smiles on her face. You know, as if she's sort of saying, I know what it's at. I know where it's at. And the reason she knows where it's at is because she sat under that tree and I love this. This is this sort of like, you know inside you. You know inside you. You know, violent baiting is a really bad thing. It should be, I think it'd probably be considered a sin. So it's a case here of actually opening up to, this is the judgment here. And I think this judgment is also going to be, it could well be quite painful actually, for a lot of people. Because some people just want to keep on with that eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth sort of scenario. And I think that does cause us enormous amounts of pain. And I think it's a case where this calling that we're being brought to it's like a bittersweet pill in a way. At some point, we've got to turn around and sort of say, okay, let the past be the past. And whatever pains and whatever difficulties and whatever hardship, emotional stuff that we had in the past, we need to let go of it. But I do think it's going to be hard. I think, you know, if you're looking for justice in the human world, don't bother. Don't, because it's never going to happen. You know, and I think this is where it could be a little bit painful for everybody. But the moment we do, and this is where the decision comes in, and this is the calling as well. And it's that sort of moment, sort of saying, where the masses, and this is what this card is all about, when the collective gets to a certain stage where we're actually sort of like the majority is turning around to the rest of the humans on the planet who haven't got the memo, who didn't get the email, you know, are turning around and sort of saying, we are the majority. If you believe in a democracy, if you believe in justice, then believe in the majority. And I think this is where common sense or consciousness comes into play. I think there's a lot of people here that has an abundance within their consciousness. And we can start applying that consciousness within our daily lives. On a very sort of, it's a reality that we're choosing. And as we apply it in our daily lives, it is going to have like this butterfly effect. It will be knocked on and knocked on and knocked on. But we've got to do it. We've got to start enacting. in every little action you do. Let's just have a look and see what's going on the financial side. Ooh. 3 of Cups with the Fool. Yeah, I think this leap of faith is all to do with the heart, all to do with the cups, all to do with the emotions, all to do with this sort of like moral well-being, not only of oneself, but also of the world that is around us, of everything that the economy or the material world, and I think it's to do with more the economy than anything else, actually should be used to serve the greater good. It should be. It's not, but it should be. And I think this could well be the change where the collective starts sort of coming together in a really beautiful way without an agenda behind, to try and gain power and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Here we go. We got the Queen of Swords again. She's made that choice, and look at that. She's made that choice over her emotions. You can see the heart that is the bottom there, and you have the Queen of Swords with the King of Cups. So this is what I was talking about, of having control over one's emotions. It's going to make for plain sailing in the future, but it needs to be a lot of common sense, a lot of logic within it, within the scenario. And I think that's how the universe is trying to influence us within the material world, because I think this is where the universe has a greater say in the material world. It's sort of saying, the earth is part of the universe. It doesn't belong to humans. Get over it. Get over it very quickly. It does not belong to us. No country belongs to us. Nothing belongs to us. Not even your house belongs to you. At some point, it was earth. And we converted that earth into bricks and made that house. Yeah. But at some point, those bricks are going to become earth again. And, once we understand that, then therefore we should be able to really take care of this part of universe. The universe is looking at it as kind of going, look, man, I've given you a planet. For crying out loud, I've given you a planet. What are you doing? People, what are you doing to it? Gee whiz, get a grip. You're not that important. And we just seem to think we are important. We are, I'll take that back. We are very, very important. Like everything is important. We're as important as a tree, and as a tree is as important as us, sort of scenario. Here is that Hangman again. So this is this aspect here of sort of seeing things in a different light, seeing the resources we have, I think, seeing the gifts that the universe is actually, or how innovative, the human innovative side has brought to us. And that could be through computers, that can be through a multitude of different things here, but it's how we use our resources. And I think we're starting to see that we can do this in a different way, and we should not ignore one resource over another. It's going to be like a patchwork sort of quilt sort of thing, made up lots of different squares, lots of different things, and lots of different connections with the nature that is around us. Are we going to be afraid to dream? It comes out with with that. I'm almost getting here, says, don't let go of the dream. That's what I'm getting here with the four of Pentacles here. Sometimes people say it's holding on too tightly, and sometimes that's actually a good thing to hold on too tightly. Nothing's ever eternally good. Something can always be, converted into another way, as it were. And here I think it's a case of don't let go of the dream and spend your dreams wisely. Spend your ambitions wisely within the world that is around us. That's what I seem to think is coming through for the collective here. This is where I think we're going to start standing up. I think this is a card here where it's sort of kind of going, no, sorry, not gonna go down that road. Not gonna buy into that anymore. And we're gonna do it in a different way. Sorry. We've got dreams and ambitions for our own kids. You may not, but we do. And they are completely different to yours. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and create something different. And this is that pathway. This creating something different here is with that Page of Cups. What have we got in the way of Page of Cups? Nurturing. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah. We've got to nurture this pathway. And this is where I was talking earlier on about sort of like investing in businesses and people and projects and stuff like that, that actually are there for the benefit, and they're helping this whole sort of transition and scenario that's going on with common sense and common law. And as we do that, we open that pathway and we start believing again in the miracles of life, in how it is an amazing thing. And we start nurturing that idea of that miracle. And that starts nurturing as well that sort of star card, that dream and our aspirations that are going forward. Within the economic side here, I think it's more tied into that. I think it's also, there is something here where seeing things differently, I think this is where we're going to have to realise what we want to put our time and effort into things in regards to governance as well, and how we physically govern ourselves. And it certainly looks a real opportunity. Just trying to see if there's something coming out in the technology as well. There seems to be, I think the technology is what we've got at the moment. It's how we use it in a different way. And start approaching it in a different way. So I've got this idea of a new computer chip that works on light rather than on electricity. So then therefore you don't have resistors in there, and therefore you don't have a heat resistance. Therefore your computers will use a lot less of electricity. And I think that's very possible. And you just think if you can convert that into sort of cars and all technology that we use, we reduce enormously the consumption that we do on electricity, which would be really nice. You know what I mean? Because we all consume it. I consume it. You're watching this because I do. You know, I'm not taking myself out of the collective, and I'm not blaming anybody else. I take my full responsibility for everything I do. And I think that's a good thing to do. You know, I had an accident when I was a kid, and I went up in the tunnel. I had a near-death experience, basically, when I was like 22 or something like that. Really quite young. And it gives you a completely different view and interaction with the world that is around you. You look at things in a different way, and your priorities completely change. You know, completely change. And I think this is what we've got to get to. We've got to get to this stage here where we realise we're part of something that is much bigger than us. But we are playing a really important role, and everything we do with every step is really important. You are needed. The world, you know, consciousness needs you. That was the title of my last video on CYMATIC TV, which is the thing all about energy and everything like that. I do another channel all about energy. Well, you can see a video on my and I go into my near-death experience on that channel as well. But yeah, it's time to stand up and be counted. Or not necessarily be counted. Time to stand up and know our place within the whole big scheme of it all. And in order to do that, we've got to believe in ourselves collectively, but at the same time, be confident about the trust that we have between one another. I trust you to live your life with a certain degree of consciousness. You know, if you didn't know, I'm not going to bang you on the head about it. Now you know, then therefore you shouldn't repeat it, if you know what I mean. It's like that sort of scenario. And I think it's a really good thing for everybody and everything. It breeds a lot of confidence between people. And when you get confidence between people, then that's when the good ideas start flowing. And that's when the evolution starts flowing. Because energy is changing and changing quickly. And when that change comes about, it's bizarre, but there'll be no going back and no going forward in a way. Or not going forward, but there is no going back, as it were. You can't change things in a certain way. So it is best that we do the change now. It's like we're driving along the road, and before you come into that tight bend that we're going into, you've got to change gear in order to adjust for your speed and everything going around the bend. We know that, right? Okay, so that's the same thing in our consciousness as we go into this sort of change, and we know it, and you can all feel it, and we can feel it under the surface. I can feel it under the surface, and I know you can. I see it through all the comments that I get on this channel and also CYMATIC TV, you know. And now it's a case of sort of kind of going, well, in that case, I'm not the only one who thinks like this, or I'm not the only one who feels like this. I'm not the only one who's got this type of consciousness. Once you get that, that's when you can really start pushing something, and you can really start opening it up to something that's going to be absolutely beautiful. Woo! There you go. I've got an idea actually for a political system, right? I think the political system, I think we should have a system of like a lottery, you know, and people get chosen. So there's no more parties anymore. We don't vote anymore, but it's just a collective of the general public who go in there, and we employ a series of health ministers, you know, so we don't put the power into one hand and stuff like that. And we employ a series of chancellors of the exchequers, or the people looking after the finances and stuff like that. And they're employed. They don't do the job properly. They come. The parliament is. You could turn around and go, okay, you're out of here. You're fired. And they're not suggested by people in the thingy. People just have to apply for it. So people who are applying for a section of the Ministry of Health, they should know about health. So we haven't got people in there who don't really know about health. They should know about it, and it should be a really good job, and it should be a job that's very well respected. At that point there, you can get rid of a lot of money within the political system. Because the only reason you've got lobbyists is because we've got parties. If we can get rid of that, maybe we can take money out of politics, and then politics will then start enacting common sense. Because I think that needs to happen, because people are, across the globe, I think people are seriously looking at our governing systems and kind of start saying, there's nothing here for me anymore. It doesn't correspond to how the human race. This does not correspond to us. And I think that's what's coming to a head. It's coming to a head here. I will stop now, because otherwise I'll start ranting on for ages. Do apologise. Yes, there you go. Thank you very much for being here. Don't forget about the live on Sunday if you want to be part of it. You know, you've got to be subscribed in order to ask questions. Yeah, it'd be lovely to have you there, and it'd be lovely to have you on the live chat and everything like that. Okay. In the meantime, you got your weeklies out and everything like that. I'll see you soon. Don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.